2, 1. Welcome back to episode 8 of the Dallas Ballers Club. We have the usual crew at hand today. Bennett.
David.
Clayton.
We might have to come up with something a little more creative than that. I feel like it's getting a little stale
gotta
already. Yeah. We'll work on that for next episode. But to get things started today, happy Victory Monday, boys.
That's much needed. Much needed.
Much needed. Yeah, Cowboys win big, 38-3 over the New England Patriots. I actually had the pleasure of being at the game yesterday, which was awesome. Got to see the arse whooping in person, and I will say, watching it live, it was pretty awesome. Defense was awesome. We'll talk about that. Dak was awesome. We'll talk about that. Mac Jones, not awesome. We'll also talk about that. But before we get into that, 2 points I want to make. One was the Zeke tribute was awesome. It was kind of almost like a tear-jerking moment for the game. Like I'm sitting there and I'm with my girlfriend and I'm with her dad and her stepmom who I was meeting for the first time, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I really about to cry right now? Like in front of them, like they're gonna judge me so hard. Ultimately held back tears. But it was awesome. Zeke gave a big shout out to the crowd. He did the spoon eating motion. It was awesome. But yeah, outside of the Zeke tribute, Clayton Stewart, our very own Clayton Stewart, happens to be a time traveler. If you guys did not watch episode 7, Clayton successfully predicted that Mac Jones would be benched after the Patriots scored 3 points, which is exactly what happened. I don't know how you predicted that. So I guess we'll just start there and then we'll go into, our offense and defense breakdown. But I just want to hear what was, as a time traveler, what has been like, is this something, how far in the future can you go? Like, can you see how we end up this season?
It's more like Thursdays. I see we get ready for the pod. We talk before the pod starts, and I thought I was like, okay, this is what's happening. Our defense is hungry, coming off that terrible loss. They look terrible. Mac Jones has not played well this season, and Bill Belichick's not afraid to make a statement and bench him. So I say I can see 3 days into the future.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I think 3. Whatever. And that's as far as I can go. So Thursday, I will know what happens in our game Sunday.
Okay, that's good to know. So that means y'all just have to tune in episode 9 for big week San Francisco preview. That'll be on Thursday. That'll be one to watch. We're gonna have a lot to talk about.
One,
yeah,
sure.
We'll have a lot to talk about. But so let's just get right into breaking down this game. Like I said, saw it in person. It was awesome. I can't even imagine how it looked on TV. I'm sure it looked just as dominant as it did watching it in person. Like I said, it was awesome. We were dominant in all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. The Chauncey Golston 2-point conversion of I thought I was in a fever dream when that happened. I can't believe that we called a fake extra point and threw it to Chauncey Golston.
I think I saw something.
That was a check at the line of scrimmage by the holder. Apparently.
Saw that. Yeah.
I think it was the first successful 2-point conversion. That was a fake since they moved back the extra point.
For us?
No, for NFL.
In the league.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Like first fake extra point?
Extra point.
Wow.
Since they moved it back.
That's awesome. I did not know that. That is nuts. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I've been doing a lot of talking here, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it around the horn here. We'll start on the offensive side, and I want to hear y'all's thoughts. So let's start with the man in the NBA 2K60 overall brown shirt, David Spangler. What do you got for us?
For sure. Just not a lot of negatives to at all talk about, and I'm kind of the negative one on the pod, or the realist. I guess the only negative would be our red zone offense per usual. I guess that's a story. But overall, it was just a pretty successful game. If you follow us on Twitter, you see that one of three of us tweeted out that don't be surprised if it was a Dak game, and it was just a Dak game. He was just precise, accurate. What we said last podcast, he got in a rhythm very, very early.
Called
And
that.
it was just an amazing game. CeeDee got his first touchdown. We're not force feeding him the ball, which kind of leads me on to believe that San Francisco might be in for a little CeeDee fun, but we'll get to that. Brandon Cooks played well. Michael Gallup looked the best I've seen Michael Gallup look in 2 years. Just him running routes was phenomenal. Our offensive line ate the Patriots' defensive line's lunch, dinner, dessert, and the following morning's breakfast. Tyler Smith is actually graded out to be the best guard in the league, according to PFF. Take of that what you will.
He was awesome yesterday.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
PFF stat-wise isn't the best for all facets of the game, but for people like me and most likely all of our listeners who don't crunch offensive line tape as much as PFF does, it's pretty good to see that Tyler Smith is the best graded guard in the league, and we have a Hall of Fame first ballot in Zach Martin on the opposite side. Just great. I think our O-line played great. Chuma Idoga played
nice,
much better than what he did last week. Still not Tyron Smith. Let's just get that out of the way. Still causes me some anxiety watching him pass protect and Dak not noticing his side at all, that being Dak's blind side. But he held his own. I definitely want to see Tyron back, and I hope he's back fully healthy for San Fran because we know where Bosa would line up. But
what about
overall,
our center?
Tyler Biotish.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah,
two for his last two.
I'm like that, and
I just wanted to hear.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, like we're splitting ass hairs if we're finding any negatives in this offensive performance outside of the red zone. The run game kind of impressed me on such a good Bill Belichick run defense, given it wasn't anything great or amazing, but it was good / average, which is all you need on a Belichick defense, and it did its job. I mean, we're not dropping 200 rushing yards every week, you know. You got to find ways to win in different ways, and just being able to establish a run game against such a notoriously good run defense is amazing. Keep in mind, like, Philly beat this team by 5, you know? Like, put things into perspective. Somehow, some way, the Jets held on to keep the game last night very close. These teams that we play somehow have elite defenses when we play them and then get overlooked when they're playing Eagles, Chiefs, and all these other teams. And the Cowboys offense really just proved that they're great. The red zone inefficiency is scary. Not to blabble on too much, but I think it's more – I think we're just afraid to run Pollard between the tackles inside a certain yardage. I think inside the 10, we're just kind of afraid to just give him the rock more. Like, we run it first. On first and goal, we'll run it. But then when it's second and goal from the 6 or third and goal from the 4, we're afraid to for some reason. And I think it just comes down to, like, we just need big dick Mike McCarthy to step out of his little just step out of the little box of trust that he has right now and just put his nuts on the table and just run the damn rock, because there's no excuses. But overall, very successful offensive performance. Dak is now through 4 weeks with 1 INT. Surprised that no one's talking about Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen or any of these other quarterbacks that are throwing interceptions. I guess that's Mahomes. Yeah, I guess this is only a narrative that fits certain Cowboy players, just like cornerback yards gained on, whatever. But overall, very good. And just side note, reporter asked Dak if he's looking forward, something along the lines of, if Dak, I'm going to pull up the actual, and I just want to clip this in because, yes, it's a win, but we're on to something else. A reporter asked.
Awesome.
A reporter asked Cowboys QB Dak Prescott what the feeling was last season after a playoff loss to the 49ers. Prescott took a long pause. It's obvious. You just want to piss me off going into this week, and I appreciate that. I actually do. I appreciate that. I mean, it doesn't take some doctor to see and read the body language of our team. Even the breakdown, Brandon Cooks wasn't even here last year. Said we all know what week it is. So despite such a great, absurd 35-point win, this team looks like they got just some balls and a bone to pick, and I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, this upcoming week's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna pick apart a little bit, be more negative today on small issues besides red zone offense, and it's not big. But first off, before I start that, our efficiency was unreal. We had 8 different guys with a rush attempt. Cooper Rush isn't. I'm not so 7 if you don't count Cooper Rush because he nailed the ball 3 times for -2 yards. So 7 guys to rush, and then we had 9 guys with receptions. And then Shoemaker, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit, had 3 targets for no catches. So if he caught a ball, which he should have caught for that touchdown, and that would have helped their red zone efficiency.
Everyone thought it was a touchdown.
That was a laser.
I thought it was a touchdown.
That was a fucking frozen rope.
The announcer saw it was a touchdown. Said touchdown.
Everyone in the stadium around me, like I was standing up, waving the towel, and then the guy behind me was like, "Oh, I think he dropped it," and I just had to like awkwardly sit back down, and I was like, "Wow, can't believe he dropped that."
Yeah, so Dak was 28 of 34, with a 108.5 passer rating. Just gave the ball to everyone. Tolbert had 4 for 53. Cooks had 4 for 27. Pollard 3 for 13. And all these are target wise also. Gallup 5 receptions, 6 targets. Jake Ferguson, I mean, what a game he had. 7 for 77 on 7 targets. Even though there are the intermediate routes and those out routes most of the time, he still would get 10 yards a catch on those things every time. And was 100% on receptions and targets. Dowdle caught a pass. Turpin caught a pass. And here's what I'm going to talk about. The Deuce Vaughn experiment needs another season. Just stop it. Also, another thing, Hunter Lipke, I called him having a touchdown.
You did call that.
So that was pretty big. But the Deuce Vaughn experiment needs to wait another season. I think it's the same exact way with how he handled Turpin last year. We didn't handle him right, and we're handling him better this year. I think entering next season is when we'll figure out how to actually handle Deuce Vaughn a little bit better in the scheme. Because I mean, he had 8 carries for 9 yards. I know it was late, but he looked terrible. He caught a pass earlier in the game and went for nothing, got popped, trying to make a move, and just got destroyed, which he's going to get. He's 5'6". He needs to talk to Darren Sproles, is what he needs to do, to figure out how to play in the NFL, because right now it doesn't look great. O-line played great. Receivers got open. Christian Gonzalez getting hurt was obviously huge for them, but CD caught 4 passes. Like, it wasn't like he had a monster game after Christian Gonzalez left the game. We sprayed the field. It was great to see. And obviously, we'll talk about defense later, but defense scored 2 touchdown and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, 2 touchdowns. So that helps also. But you're 28 of 34, your quarterback with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. I'm going to take that all day long.
Yeah. A lot of great points there. I do kind of want to start with the Deuce Vaughn thing. For one, I mean, his carries were pretty much like when the game was out of reach. But I do agree with you. Like you saw last week, he didn't have a single offensive snap. And I think that's probably what the trend is going to be. Like, I would be shocked if he played a snap against San Francisco. I don't. There's just no way, unless there's an injury. But I mean, that's fine. He's our RB3. But I know Dowdle
might be RB4 now.
I think Lipke's ahead of him on the depth chart. I think that's obvious. I think Pollard, Dowdle, Lipke, then Vaughn.
Yeah. And that's not that's not a knock on Deuce. I mean,
no, it's not.
Like I'm 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 sure he will end up being a very fine NFL player. He just it's gonna take time. I mean,
Yeah.
this isn't preseason anymore. There are actual starters out there now, like, and big fucking dudes that know how to lay the lumber. Like, and Deuce Vaughn is, we all love him, but like he is a shrimp. Like he's gonna get destroyed. But yeah, outside of the Deuce, I guess not looking great. That wasn't like one of my takeaways, but offense looked great. The game started out almost exactly how I predicted that it was going to start, was that we were going to win the toss, we were going to take the ball, we were going to score a touchdown, and we were going to get Dak in a rhythm early. And that's exactly what we did. I was really, really glad to see that. It was just win the toss, take the ball, drive ended in a field goal, but Dak had 70 yards passing on that first drive. Like it was just every single play. It was just drop back, get it out quick, get it out quick, get it out quick. And we weren't taking our time. It was up tempo, like keeping Dak in that flow, which I thought was great because it was like I said last week. I said, you know, this is one of Dak's strengths is just um, quick passes, quick release, and we never play to it. And that's exactly what we did. We saw a pissed off Dak. We saw a pissed off Mike McCarthy. I mean, he was trying to get Brendan Aubrey out there to hit a fucking 65-yard field goal when we were up 25. Like like he had that
I think
killer
that goes
mentality.
in too.
Oh, that
Dude,
100% goes in.
dude, I think Aubrey has a fucking pipe.
He
If
does.
we're trying to trot him out for 65, what's Justin Tucker's record? 66?
I think 66 or 7.
Like if we're trotting him out willingly, not trying to, like, obviously there's nothing to play for here, but if we're trotting him out, he for sure has made that in practice before. So
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. But yeah, kind of like y'all said, offense was great. I don't have anything to nitpick necessarily. The Schoonmaker, I'm just gonna say Schoonmaker drop touchdown was tough. As I already said, everyone thought that he caught it, that was a touchdown, myself included. Um, it was a great ball from Dak, and
Beautiful.
if he catches that, I mean they would have done exactly what I said, which was take the ball, receive, and go score a touchdown on the first drive. And obviously that drive ends in 3 points. No, not a huge deal, rookie tight end, but against a good team or in a bigger moment or in a game that's not a 35-point blowout, that's probably a play that we're looking back on and being like, that's but that's just nitpicking. I was very impressed with the offense. Red zone is still a struggle, but there's signs of improvement.
yeah,
Is what I'll say, which I'm happy with. The one thing that I noticed during the game, I forget who tweeted it, um, but I saw during the game, and it was about the Cowboys' lack of usage of their wide receivers in the red zone. And after I saw that tweet, I watched the second half with that mentality of, okay, whenever we get in the red zone, let's see who we go to. And the go-to guys in that second half, it was Jake Ferguson and it was Cavante Turpin. Those were the guys that we were looking for in the end zone or in the red zone, which I thought was a little interesting. Um, Again, not a huge deal. We had a big lead. I think maybe it was a time where McCarthy is trying different things, experimenting with different things, just trying to give Belichick different looks. Because I mean, obviously Belichick is a genius. Not overly concerning, but there was one play sequence. It was and I'm gonna want to watch this one back in the all 22 once that drops. But there was a 3rd and 1 from the New England 5-yard line. It was right after Bland's second pick of Mac Jones. And um yeah, it was 31 from the 5, and they got cute and tried to run like this play action like drop back instead of just running it over the middle, and Dak takes sack, kick a field goal. That was a play
yeah,
where like as soon as it happened, because when they lined up, I think they had two tight ends on the field. Like it looked like a run, and then Dak was trying to play action. He was trying to roll out to his left, find someone back left corner, and I mean he just had no time after the play fake, got planted for a sack. And that was just a play where I'm wondering in my head, I'm like, how is that not a run? 3rd and 1 from the 5. That has to be a run every single time. And
For
I think
sure.
that was one of the things that I texted y'all. I was like 3rd and 1 from the 5. Like that's a run every single time, especially
Yeah.
with where we were at in the game and how our offense was moving the ball. Like I get it, Dak was hot, but you have 1 yard to get a first down, and then you got 1st and goal from inside the 5, and then like I don't know, I I would have loved to have seen a run there. Again, this is nitpicking, but very impressed with the offense.
To go off that,
Yeah,
Bert, by the way, there was also a red zone play where it would have been a touchdown if Dak turned the right way in a handoff to Tony Pollard. Kind of looked
yes,
like a
that was
broken
on the first
play.
drive. That was on the first
Yeah.
drive. Yeah,
If you watch, and I kind of watched the replay and saw it on Twitter too, there was a clear lane for an end zone. For some reason, there was Dak fucking up the turn, or maybe Pollard did a false step. I'm not sure what that was. But also, I just want to bring up a hypothetical and just let that air out right now. What if we're saving? What if we're just giving certain looks in the red zone up until now? Because realistically, we haven't been needing to score in the red zone. And I know it sounds
right.
weird, and I know it's going to be like, oh, this is the last excuse they could hold on to. But what if we don't want to give our A+ looks in the red zone out right now? What if we don't want to do that and we're just lining up systematically trying things because we don't want these videos, we don't want these plays on tape for San Fran, for Philadelphia,
Yeah,
because all these games, I mean, besides Arizona, we fucking slacked the teams. Like what? There's no need to bring out our A+ or even fucking A and A- and B+. There's no need. Like,
yeah,
why don't we try new things? And part of me, like, our offense is so good until the red zone that it just doesn't make sense that we're so bad. So it's part of me really believes that we're saving something because we don't want things on tape. Because
yeah.
I mean, this is such a horrific red zone offense, despite our offense being top 6 in the league efficiency wise right now, probably top 5.
And scoring.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me looking at it and looking at these play calling. And you know what? The excuse that I'm going to hang my hat on right now is we don't want our A or even B plays on film out of the gate. It's week 4. You saw
yeah,
what Kellen did last year where we would put up 40, 40, 40. We'd be running all these fancy plays, and then playoffs come, and it looks like San Fran and Philly just knew what we were doing. So this is a coaching staff that has a pedigree, that has gone to Super Bowls, has won Super Bowls. This is also Mike McCarthy, who is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. I mean, people hate on him because he's fat. Let's just
because
be
he's fat.
honest.
Yep,
Yeah,
because he's
because he's
fat.
on. Let's just be honest. And like, he's not this dumb, and neither is Schottenheimer. And I understand these are two new to the play calling in a little bit, at least in McCarthy. But you're not running such a great offense between your 1 yard line to their 15 and being dog shit. Sorry, Parson, my dog, is barking in the background. But I just wanted to air that out because it's something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I'm just going to hang my hat on the excuse we don't want a lot of plays on film in the red zone.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's also where Gallup makes his money, too. And how many targets has Gallup got in the red zone? Brandon Cooks? Like, we're only using – I mean, CeeDee's gotten one against Arizona where he should have went up for the ball. But then other than that, did he get a red zone target against New England? I don't know. So – I mean, we're not targeting our wide receivers for some odd reason.
Oh,
And I'm
he
gonna
did.
hang my
He
hat
he
on.
did have one target. Yeah, I think it might have been on that first drive too. Ball kind of went over his head. He tried to like one hand
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
I
the
thought
only
he was
one.
about to do it again.
Yeah, that was the only one that I could, in terms of red zone targets for him. That was the only one that I can remember, just because the touchdown play, which was an awesome ball by Dak. That was, I think it was from the 21, so it was
Yeah,
technically just
that's not
outside.
red zone. But
Yeah.
is that a far-fetched excuse? And I want this as live reactions. Like you try to put your mind into why isn't the Cowboys offense working, and you try to crack the stats. Like it's just something about our red zone offense doesn't make sense, and I think it's strategic. So like Clayton, is that a reasonable excuse?
Yeah, I like that. I like that as an excuse. I'm gonna say that we're trying to be too cute. Is what I think is happening. Just run the fucking ball.
Is there a deeper root? Is there a cause for trying to be too cute? You know?
Yeah,
Like,
I understand what you're
I'm
saying.
trying to,
I like it,
because
but
Mike
I
said it
mean,
all year. He's thinking long term. Injuries, we're thinking long term. This, we're thinking long term. Play calling, I mean, that
so
falls under the
we're
long
gonna
term
see
category.
we're gonna see Sunday.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope you're right. I hope you're right because there isn't. I think it's either we're getting too cute and we're just doing dumb play calls, or we are saving our best plays for the better teams, which is understandable. We're 3-1 right now. Like, there's
Yeah.
no reason we should even try anything crazy. I mean, killing everybody, besides Arizona, obviously. But at the same time, just score a fucking touchdown. You know?
Turkey.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a possibility. I would probably lean to what Clayton said, and that I think we're just trying to get too cute. But it certainly is a possibility that we're trying to save looks for later in the season because I mean, as we've talked about before, this our especially from what is it, weeks like 12 through 17, we have a gauntlet where we have to play, Buffalo and Miami and Philly and like Seattle. Yeah. So, maybe it's something that we're saving. I don't think that's out of the question, but yeah, I think I agree with what Steve said in that. I think we'll find out this week because everyone in that building, this is like our Super Bowl within the season is this game. So
And in
we're gonna
Philly.
find out this week. Yeah. Um, but just trying to move things along here. Shifting over to the other side of the ball. I'll start out by saying our defense is back. Whatever
Yeah.
whatever swagger they didn't have against Arizona, they're back. They looked awesome. Deron Bland, awesome. I was a week late on my Deron Bland call for my hot boy pick of the week. He was awesome yesterday. He had an incredible
through
game.
through 4 games, he has as many touchdowns as the most Dallas Cowboy offensive player.
That's yeah. Wow, that's nuts. that's awesome. That's an awesome stat. But yeah, defense was really really good. And also Deron Bland stat that came across my Twitter feed today. Deron Bland has more interceptions this season than Sauce Gardner has in his whole career. Just saying. Just saying.
What is it? 8 and 7 in the last 10 games, something like that.
Something ridiculous. I mean, he's at 3 this year and he had 5 last year, so yeah, 8. Sauce only has 2. Sauce had Bland had as many picks yesterday as Sauce has in his career. I don't know. Some are saying start the narrative. Deron Bland, best corner from the 2022 NFL draft class. But just in general with the defense, I mean, they made Mac Jones look awful yesterday. I mean, he got benched for Bailey Zappi. Shout out to Bailey Zappi, but you're not the guy. So, and it was funny. I was listening to part of my take on the way home, and obviously Hank is a diehard Pats fan, and he's like, yeah, I don't even really know what to do. He's like, do I root for us to tank the rest of the year and get Caleb Williams in the Patriots uni, or do I just say, oh, we play the Saints and the Raiders this week, maybe we can turn this thing around, which I think is hilarious.
See, I don't get the Patriots and what they do on the offensive side of the ball with they don't pay anybody. This whole narrative, like they don't pay in their defensive guys and they leave. Like J.C. Jackson is a great example. Chargers pay him a bunch and he sucks right now.
Malcolm Butler
Gilmore.
Van Noy.
Patriots.
No,
But
Gilmore's different.
Yeah, the Patriots.
We're talking about like the guys that are only good in New England, like Malcolm Butler, Kyle Van Noy,
J.C. Jackson, and they get paid somewhere else, and they suck. It's the Patriots scheme on their defensive side of the ball, but on offense, they don't pay anybody. They gave what, $7 million to Juju or whatever it is. Like I think he's the highest paid besides Zeke.
I think Zeke's on a pretty small deal.
Well,
Probably
probably Mac Jones, then Bailey Zappi in terms of contracts.
Jasicki.
I guess quarterback wise, yeah.
Or Hunter
But
Jasicki,
I mean, they
Hunter
don't
Henry,
pay. They just
Trent
don't pay
Brown.
anybody.
Yeah.
They just don't pay anybody. Like, why are you're not going to be explosive? They're not explosive. The whole thing they had yesterday was that Hunter Henry had a okay average game for a tight end. Mike Gesicki had a couple catches. Nobody. Kendrick Bourne had one nice little catch.
That was it. Offense. Very, very weird offense.
I don't. And then Stevenson you knew that Stevenson and Zeke were just going to get pounded. We're going to pound the box. I think Stevenson had 14 carries for 30 yards, and like they just had nowhere to go all game. They just had to dump it off.
Yeah.
Stop. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like how their offense is just not good. And and they've scored 15 points against the Jets, 3 points against us. Somehow they scored 20 something against the Eagles. Don't get that whatsoever. Think frauds. But like they're just not a good offense. And it's us also on defensive side. Like we stopped them for 3 points, but they're just not good. Mac Jones is not good. He can't move in the pocket. Like Micah Parsons had 10 pressures and 10 quarterback hurries. Didn't have a sack. He won 20 of his 27 snaps, 74% yesterday. Didn't have a sack. He had 2 defensive touchdowns, 2 picks. Should have been 3 picks for Mac Jones. He's just not good. And I want to say it's our defense. I want to see next week what happens in next week that we're back our defense. But I think it's the whole Patriots side of the ball is just not good. Like that might be the worst offense in the NFL besides maybe the Falcons
I mean, the Bears are pretty bad.
The Broncos are pretty bad as well.
Broncos are
pretty
bad.
The
Raiders are horrible.
No, Raiders, but they had
Raiders have more
talent.
Aiden
O'Connell.
I mean,
Aiden O'Connell. That's right.
Fair.
Like Patriots bottom 3, maybe bottom 4 offense in the NFL.
For sure. Yep. But what also just shifting to our defense, we kind of beat a dead horse in saying we needed a game out of our linebackers, and boy, did they deliver. Both Damone Clark and Van Der Esch had hell of games. Van Der Esch got a touchdown. Clark and Van Der Esch, I mean, it just seemed like they were playing with more energy, don't you? Like, they shot gaps. They were making TFLs. Like, they weren't just sitting.
I think they didn't put LVE on the line yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw him one time on the line. Just make him play in the middle. That's what I said last week.
Van Der Esch looked awesome yesterday. He was flying yesterday. Like watching him yesterday, it looked like.
Do you think he watches the pod?
Probably.
He's probably in AWL.
Yeah. Come on the pod, LVE. We would love to discuss. But yeah, he was also, I mean, Stu, the prophet, that was Stu's hot boy of the week. Didn't hit that 10 plus tackles, but he looked awesome yesterday. And 7 tackles and a touchdown, fumble recovery touchdown. So he was awesome. Linebackers, just like Spanky said, we beat the shit out of that dead horse and said, need to see the linebacker step up. Clark was awesome. I know he had at least one TFL, if not 2. Bell was good. Van Der Esch was awesome. I mean, secondary secondary just in general looked really good. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, it dawned on me late in the game when I saw Gilmore out there because I was like, oh, this is the first time that I'm seeing Stephon Gilmore in person. But I was like, the fact that it took me to the 4th quarter to even remember he was on the field. I mean, usually that's a good thing for a corner. Like Belichick was not throwing his way at all. Sorry, not Belichick. Mac Jones was not looking his way at all. I mean, secondary just looked great. Pass rush was really good. Micah was so close so many times to
9 pressures. 9.
Yeah. I mean, Micah was so close yesterday so many times. I mean, it was just a really good performance from our defense. I mean, Deron Bland, I mean, just looked awesome yesterday. He was sick. That pick 6 that he had was kind of the moment where I was just like, all right, like this game's over. time to get Cooper Rush ready. Have Trey
Would have
Lance.
loved to see Lance.
I
would have
know.
loved to see a little bit of him.
I was thinking about it yesterday because I was like, what are the odds that we get Lance in the game?
So
I
can't
think
put
it's
him in.
unless the top two quarterbacks are
They have
unable
to
to play.
hurt. Correct.
Yeah. So the odds that we see Lance this year, unless we elevate him to QB2 for a game, are probably pretty low, which is kind of a deflator. But I mean, hey, you never know. Injuries happen all the time. So
just talking more about
good,
defense
16
as
or
well.
15-1. I mean,
I just have a couple things to say.
Yeah, that was sloppy there. Sloppy talking over. Yeah.
Sorry.
Fuck 'em. Dante Fowler had a good game. I know the box score doesn't do justice to Micah Parsons at all, but you just see what, like, the offensive line has to shift his way. They have to go his way. He's getting chipped. He's getting doubled. And, we have barely talked about the presence of DeMarcus Lawrence. And you know who is the second highest grade among edges in all of the NFL this year? Is DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus is 2 to Nick Bosa, and Micah is 5. It's just crazy. He's been so overlooked, and sure, stats might not do him as much justice as they do the rest of the league because he's so good in the run defense, but he had a great game. Dorrance Armstrong had a good game. Mozzie Smith played a fuck ton this game. We saw a lot of Mozzie and Jonathan Hankins play, and that's great. I mean, if you were to say that what kind of defense are we going to run next week? We're going to have to take away the run. So Mozzie and Jonathan Hankins, that was a little trial run, and it was successful. One thing I have to say is that Chauncey Golston playing at D tackle, I think he's a little soft in the run defense, but overall, our D-line 8 for just only getting how many sacks? 1?
I think they only had 1. It was, the Fowler strip sack, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for only getting 1 sack, that just is criminal for how well our defensive line played. I mean, Micah had 9 pressures. It seemed like Mac Jones got the ball and just had to run. So
never got comfortable.
Yeah, overall, just great game. Man, I would hate to be. Who the hell is the starting right tackle on the Niners now?
It's not McGlinchey anymore because he left.
Even then, we saw what Micah did.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Micah destroyed him. The clip was awesome. Yeah. And
then also, can we just talk about Jalen Tolbert on special teams as well?
Oh, that hit was awesome.
Him and Goodwin as gunners on a punt, pretty fucking good. I mean, we found that Kelvin Joseph role. I mean, we said in the offseason how good Kelvin was on special teams, but Tolbert's put in a shift, so happy with that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I will say yesterday, first time I've ever seen the Patriots in person. Absolute pleasure to watch Matthew Slater play special teams. I mean, what a just a great special teamer. I mean, that was like the one thing that I saw yesterday was that kind of stood out to me outside of the Aubrey doing his thing in our 2-point conversion was we don't really give special teams a lot of love on this pod, as most people don't, but it was pretty cool that Kevontae Turpin, Belichick, in his breakdown of the Cowboys in that press conference that we talked about last week in our New England pod, he said that Kevontae Turpin was the best returner in the league, and there was a cool moment where Turpin fair caught a punt, and Slater was literally like right in front of him, just ready to lay him out if Turp didn't fair catch it, and they were just like patting each other on the helmet and just talking real quick. I don't know. I just thought that was cool. That was like a weird like football nerd thing, and I was like, dude, Matthew Slater's just so good at special teams. Like, he won't be a Hall of Famer, but like, wow. I mean, he's just so good at special teams. It's crazy. So, shout out to Matthew Slater. Come on the pod. But as we get ready to wrap up here. Last week it was good, bad, and ugly. Glad that this week we can get it back to great, good, and bad. And so let's just go here. We'll start with great, good, bad. Who wants to go first?
I mean, Spank or me. Doesn't matter. 'Cause I think my grade's going to be obvious, and I think the grade should be obvious for everybody. Should I just say it, Dak?
Yep.
Dak was great. I think there really isn't anybody else you could say unless you want to say Bland, which you could obviously say Bland. But that's going to be my good is Bland. No, I'll shift my good to LVE. He's my hot boy of the week. We go, great was Dak, good was LVE. Bad, I'm going to keep harping on it. Deuce Vaughn. Even though it's kind of nitpicky, but I'm doing it.
Fair. Sorry, Deuce. Come on the pod.
Yeah, for sure. My great was Bland. My good, I just have to say it, Jake Ferguson. He had a great fucking game. Overlooked.
Stole mine. Damn it.
Yeah, and the bad, red zone. I'm just gonna go on all reliable here.
Yeah. So my great, well, you guys took both of mine. I am notorious for having long waiting times, so I'm talking here to stall it out. Not bad podcasting. But for my great, I'm going to go with just the defense as a whole, specifically, just to mix it up, I'll say our defense. And it wasn't, obviously, we already talked about Micah. Box score won't do him justice, but I want to give some love to the other guys. Dorrance Armstrong, Hankins and Mozzie, Dante Fowler with the strip sack. So I want to give some love to the other guys. Defense was great. D-line was great. For my good, I'm going to go with it was good to see Kevontae Turpin have an awesome long carry at the end of the game. I thought he was going to house it. I was standing up screaming. I thought he was going to house it. Did fumble at the end. Shout out to Sean McKeon. I mean, that's you want to talk about a guy on the bubble who's making an impact. That's how you earn yourself a spot on the roster. Right place, right time. 100%. Just like Tyler Biotish on that CD fumble against the Jets. I mean, right place, right time. But I mean, great hustle by Sean McKeon. So shout out to him. Come on the pod. And then for my bad, don't want to do red zone offense. I'll just say for bad. Yeah, don't want to say Deuce either. I feel like we've been ragging on him, short kings. For my bad, I'll just say Luke Schoonmaker. I mean, the drop was bad. Don't have too much to complain about. Just, got to have that one next time, rookie. So let's go ahead and transition to a wrap up here. We got our stat corner. So I'm sure that we all came with some stats. So let's hear what we all got.
Cowboys align in shotgun at the second lowest rate in the NFL.
Wait, say that again?
Cowboys align in the shotgun formation, the second lowest rate out of any other team in the NFL.
What is, like, win rate, or like success rate, or?
How often we line up in shotgun is the second lowest amount of snaps.
Oh, I see.
In all of NFL. And then also, just because he was my good, Jake Ferguson against New England, 7 for 7, 77 yards, 85.5 receiving grade, 2 for 2 contested catches, 3 missed tackles, and 5 first downs. Found that safety blanket.
Wow.
I like it. I'm just going to go harp on the Cowboys and the defensive touchdowns. We obviously have the most in the NFL. We have 3. But since Dan Quinn took over in 2021, we've had the most with 12 in the past 3 seasons.
Wow.
And that's going to be part of my cover 0. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago after the Jets game. But my cover 0 is also going to be we're going to finish the year with the most defensive touchdowns scored.
What's the record on that?
We looked it up a couple weeks ago, and we said it was 8 to 10. We couldn't feel it was like a long time ago in the 70s.
And what are we at right now? Are we at
3?
3? Dang. Mm-hmm. Dang. If only that block punt against the Giants counted too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Wow. Okay. I actually love that. And I love that take. So my stat corner is a little bit different than y'all's. This is a Dak stat. But it's more just to ridicule the mainstream sports media that loves to hate Dak Prescott. Numbers versus the Jets this season, notable quarterbacks, aka any quarterback not named Mac Jones. Josh Allen, 70.7% completion percentage, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble lost. Patrick Mahomes versus the Jets, 60% completion percentage, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Dak Prescott, 81.6% completion percentage, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Which one do you think will get out of all three? Now that all three are in the past, which one do you think will get talked about the least? Probably Dak, right?
But
Dak,
Yeah.
100p.
Yeah. It's just frustrating. I mean, we could sit here and talk about it till we're blue in the face about how Dak will just never get the respect that he deserves. From anyone, especially the sports media side, who they've got to put any time that they're talking about something NFL related, got to put the Cowboy star out there, got to talk about Dak Prescott. So shout out to Four, made a great defense look really bad, and did something that Patrick Mahomes nor Josh Allen could do, and that was not throw an interception, much less multiple interceptions. So let's go ahead and finish up here. Cover zero takes. What do we got?
Jake Ferguson is a top 5 tight end in the league. Top 5. Hasn't shown it yet, obviously, but he has the potential. And I just want to go on record and say, for all those people saying Mozzie Smith is a bust and he hasn't put up the stats, Mozzie Smith will finish the year with 4+ sacks.
So, and he has 0 right now, right?
Yeah.
I like it. I actually like that one a lot. It's a great one. Mine is obviously defensive touchdowns, most ever. And my second thing is that Taylor Swift absolutely sucks. I hate her. Never come to another football game ever again. I hate Swifties.
That is dangerous. That's a dangerous take, but
Yep.
we'll leave it in. I mean, if that means views, we'll take it. So, yeah.
Sorry, babe, I don't condone that.
Yeah, mine too. Sorry, I didn't know he was saying that. Sorry.
That wasn't in the
I hate her.
script.
I hate her.
Okay, I don't hate her. If you like her, I like her. Sorry, honey. Anyways, my cover zero take is Brendan Aubrey's the best kicker in the NFL right now.
Woo!
Justin Tucker, who?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
Brendan Aubrey's the best kicker in the NFL right now. Sorry.
Yep.
I said it.
Love it.
I think that about wraps it up. Unless y'all have anything else that you want to add.
Taylor Swift sucks.
Okay, Stu.
Tune in Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah. That
We're gonna go on a heater.
Yeah, that'll lead me into our little outro here. Make sure y'all tune in Thursday. We are gonna have a spicy pod talking about and previewing the Cowboys and 49ers epic Sunday night game. So be sure to tune in, and thank you guys all for joining us today. And please follow us on our socials, TikTok and Twitter at DallasBC Pod, Instagram at DallasBC Podcast. And for email inquiries, please feel free to shoot us an email, podcastdbc@gmail.com. Looks like we lost Spanky. Stuck in the salute right there. That's awesome. Please.
That's so sick.
Wait, can you take a screenshot of that before we head out? That's actually hilarious. Okay, did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. On behalf of Spanky, yeah, this is Burke and Stu signing off, and we'll see you guys Thursday. Thank y'all for listening.
Boom.